Hello, in this tutorial we will look at the three main components of a good low poly. Mesh, topology. Harden, soften edges. And shading. Okay, let's start with the silhouette. Why is silhouette important? This is the outline of your model, and the player will definitely see the low poly shapes, which will ruin the gaming experience. A silhouette with enough topology and smooth shapes looks much better than a quickly made low poly that wasn't given any love. Removing supports from the high poly is not enough. How do I know which silhouette is acceptable? The first thing you need to decide is what size your object is. The larger the object, the larger the silhouette, which means you need a lot of edges to smoothly describe it. The second is at what distance the player will look at your model. The further away the model is, the fewer polygons you need to spend on round and curved shapes. The number of polygons for cylinders may be different for different game projects. This can be described in the technical specifications. If you follow the two rules that I described before, there is a 90% chance that your low poly will be approved without changes. Take your time and look at the model from different angles to make sure it looks good. Optimization. Low poly for animation, deformation, such as characters, fabrics, and so on, has specific creation rules. We don't talk about that in this video. The first thing I want to say about low poly is the importance of optimization. This is the main reason why we spend a lot of time, so we have to be careful with low poly. A low poly should not have unnecessary topology that does not affect the silhouette. All unnecessary edges and points must be removed. We don't have to waste polygons on detail that we can bake into a normal map. How do you know what detail can be baked in? This is usually not deep detail that will look believable after baking. With practice it will become clear. For stronger optimization, we can remove invisible parts that the player will not see. This could be the bottom of the model or the back. If objects in our low poly intersect, we can cut out and remove hidden areas. Also make sure that there are no gaps left. Close the gaps point to point. This is a good habit. Remember, never close cylinders this way. It's bad modeling practice, but more importantly you waste extra polygons. This is the correct way. Try to triangulate unreliable polygons. These can be polygons on a plane or polygons on curved surfaces. The thing is that until we triangulate it, we don't see its real shading. This applies to stretched polygons or broken polygons. During the baking stage, this can cause artifacts. So make sure the shading is stable. Make sure your low poly matches the basic shape of your high poly. Otherwise, you will get black line artifacts and incorrect display of normals. Soften, harden edges. This is called differently in different 3D editors, smooth groups or shade smooth, but the sense does not change. With soften, harden we can adjust the shading of our low poly. This also needs to be done with optimization. We cannot assign hard edges to everything, because there are certain rules. If an edge has an angle equal to or greater than 90 degrees, it must be a hard edge, otherwise gradients will appear in the normal map when baked. These gradients will increase the size of the normal map, which we definitely don't want. You can safely mark all edges from 0 to 65 degrees as soft. We should strive for the minimum required number of hards, because there will be fewer seams on the UV. Less seams equals better packing equals more texel. Shading. What is shading? In simple words, this is how your model looks, how light interacts with the surface of the model. We can adjust shading using topology and harden soften edges. How do you know if shading is good? If you see stretched edges or dark gradients, it's bad shading. Bad shading will cause artifacts during the baking stage and cause gradients to appear on the normal map. There is a third way to adjust shading. Directly interact with model normals using special tools. We can change the vector of individual normals. Or transfer shading from one object to another. If you work in a game studio, ask your lead, Can we use custom normals in our pipeline? That's all. If the video was useful, like it.